Casinos have discovered the formula for making lucrative profits. From the ugly carpets, to the clubs and the pools, to the slot machines, casinos have gotten to the point where US states and local governments are averaging over $33 billion in tax revenue per year from casinos alone.
So what's with the ugly carpets, and what games are contributing most to this industry?
Now, I cover a lot of businesses in my videos, but I've realized that casinos literally use psychological warfare to get you to spend more money, and today we're gonna get to the bottom of it. As Sun Tzu says, to know your enemy, you must become your enemy. And so once we master their tactics, we hopefully won't fall victim to their tricks. A little later in this video, we'll go over what your best odds to succeed are in a casino environment if you do end up playing some of the games that casinos offer, for entertainment purposes, of course.
What I've noticed about most of the casinos here on the Strip in Vegas is that they all have one thing in common, and that's to have a similar design layout to try to get you to stay in the casino for longer.
In doing my research for this video, I read the book Addiction by Design by Natasha Schul, and most casinos have 4 main tactics they use to get you to subconsciously stay longer. The first is that casinos don't have clocks in the casino. If you are gambling, it's probably best if you don't have any reference point for what time it actually is. Because if you did, you might be reminded of your responsibilities outside of the casino, like an upcoming dinner reservation, your nagging spouse, or maybe that you have to feed your baby. With everyone having a mobile phone these days, the fact that casinos don't have clocks might not be as relevant as it used to be in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but it's still a principle that you'll find consistently throughout casinos today. The second thing is that casinos often have a maze-like layout. With no windows to the outside world, another method in which they want you to lose sense of time, they really just want you to get lost, and if you can't see daylight, you have no idea what time it is.
We're in the gaming section of the Bellagio, and what if I told you it was 2 a.m.? Well, it's not, it's actually like 12 p.m., but you wouldn't know because there are no windows or clocks anywhere.
The third thing casinos do is to use their environment to force you to either take action or no action. The carving hallways, for example, there are no right-angled turns in a casino. According to Addiction by Design, right-angled turns force people to call upon the decision-making parts of their brain to stop and reflect on what they're doing, which casinos definitely don't want. The ugly casino carpets that we talked about earlier, they're disorienting and force you to look up. No one wants to stare at an ugly casino carpet when there are far more entertaining games, people, and payouts to look at. Fourth, casinos offer you free drinks when you're playing. This is a perk that many gamblers love, but it comes at a cost: your inhibitions. If you've ever been drunk before, you know that you'll have no sense of time, and you'll be more willing to make impulsive decisions, which are both win-wins for the casino.
Do they pass or run? 5,000.
Oh, wow.
He's been drinking.
Now, if you go into any casino these days, they'll usually employ all of these tactics to get you to stay longer and gamble more. But I discovered something really interesting late last year, which was that casinos derive nearly 2/3 of their revenue from non-gaming activities. That's something that really surprised me, and one of the main reasons I wanted to make this video in the first place. Despite casinos being synonymous with gambling, most people don't know what the revenue breakdown of a casino looks like. So let's use MGM Resorts as a benchmark, which owns 8 casinos in the Las Vegas Strip, including MGM Grand, Mandalay Bay, the Bellagio, and Excalibur.
So I'm sitting here in my room at the Bellagio, and rooms make up about 30% of MGM's revenue. Now compare that to the 33% for gaming activities, and you can see that the experience of staying in a casino is a core part of any casino's business, especially on the Strip.
So between rooms and casino revenue, that accounts for 63% of casino revenue. The remainder includes food and beverage coming in at 21%, and entertainment and retail at 16%. So gaming, while it is an attraction, isn't where the casinos are making the bulk of their profits. I found that rooms are one of the most profitable endeavors for this particular casino. The room I stayed in was $340 for a weekday night, and according to financial statements, the highest gross margin segment for the resorts are the rooms. They have a gross margin of 65%. That's pretty amazing. Typically, the occupancy rate needed to break even on rooms is 37%. That means if the Bellagio has 1,000 rooms, for example, only 370 of them need to be occupied to break even. Any rooms booked above 370 will be pure profit for MGM. If occupancy is ever too low, the resort can tinker its pricing lower to drive more occupancy. Hotels in Vegas are much cheaper than comparable top city destinations, and in this way, they act as gateways to Vegas. If you're visiting Las Vegas, the last thing they want you to do is be turned off by the hotel pricing. Plus, the resorts know that they're going to make their money back on the gaming, entertainment and retail, and the food. There are 4,337 restaurants restaurants in Vegas, the most per capita in the United States, and Vegas also boasts 10 Michelin star restaurants, including a Nobu, a couple Joel Robuchons, a Michael Mina restaurant, and more. But let's actually discuss what you probably clicked on this video for, the casino games with the best odds. There are table games like blackjack, roulette, and craps, or there are machine games like the slot machines or digital poker. All of these games make the casinos money, but which of these games makes casinos the most? And what are the games that you should play in order to maximize your chances of winning? According to David Schwartz, a gaming historian who has published books on gambling and casinos, in many states, casinos make between 65 to 80% of their gambling income from slots alone. That's right, the gentle slot machine with its intricate visuals, sounds, is one of Vegas's most lucrative games. In Las Vegas, the percentage casinos make from slots varies from 88% in casinos that cater primarily to locals to 50% on the Las Vegas Strip, where high rollers betting tens of thousands of dollars a hand skews the results in favor of table games just a little bit. Every day, players put millions of dollars into slot machines, but why do they do this? Because to me, they don't even seem that fun. I get as much enjoyment out of playing, say, Clash of Clans, So, how do slot machines entrance you? It actually starts with the game display, which is tilted exactly at 38 degrees to encourage upright posture and good ergonomics. The music typically rings in the key of C major. That is a pleasing sound to the ear and sticks out in a busy casino atmosphere.
This is crazy. If you had told me before I filmed this video that these dumb little machines make up most of the revenue of the casino, I probably would not have believed you.
Besides the sounds, they usually have seats that are sometimes programmed to buzz depending on the outcomes, giving you some haptic feedback while you're playing. Lastly, do you see these credits on the screen? Slot machines love using credits so that you disassociate your real-life dollars with the credit system. It helps disguise financial losses and encourages you to play. It's much like a video game that asks you to buy in-game currency in exchange for dollars, like V-Bucks in Fortnite.
A few moments later.
In reading Addiction by Design, people that get addicted to slot machines often have a certain machine or type of machine that they enjoy. Look at this graph. These are the projected play trends for 3 different games. The shortest line represents a game with high volatility and a low hit rate or win frequency, whereas the longer one shows a low volatility and high hit frequency game. In the longer line game, this is a game that's designed to bleed you out slowly but gives you hits of dopamine along the way for every win. The adrenaline seekers will gravitate toward the shorter line game as it encourages a more volatile cadence. This is why when you ask gamblers what their favorite slot machine is, they may have a different answer because it truly depends on what they feel is right. As you can see though from the bottom graph that the plots of 2 gamblers playing 5,000 spins, eventually the house edge gradually consumes the winnings and you will lose money. In the article that I researched, the question was posed, quote, can a player get an edge on a slot machine which relies on pure chance? And the answer is not really. There's a statistical advantage for the casinos. Ambrose, a gaming consultant, says, the math of the game ensures that casinos generate a consistent positive win for themselves. Most jurisdictions will mandate that slots return a set minimum amount to players. 85% is the magic number in Nevada, though most machines will return more than that on average. That means if you put $100 into a slot machine over the course of the long term, you can expect about $85 back, or the casino to take about 15%. Slot machines are profitable for those 2 reasons. Number 1, addiction and long play periods, and number 2, guaranteed wins for the casino over the long term. But say for the fun of it, you want to play the uphill battle of beating a casino. What games give you the best chances? There have been a lot of mathematical studies that have been done on which casino games had the lowest house advantage. In fact, UNLV found that blackjack and craps had the lowest house advantage overall. Your odds of winning blackjack are 49%, and with craps it is nearly 50%. Of course, this also assumes that you play blackjack perfectly and know what you're doing. Roulette's odds of winning, if you are only playing if the bet will fall on red or black, almost has odds of 50-50 as well. The highest revenue games behind slot machines for casinos are typically blackjack, baccarat, roulette, and lastly, that's followed by craps. I left sports gambling out of today's video, but it would come typically behind craps in a typical month. Here's a breakdown of Nevada gaming wins in just a single month, and as you can see, slot machines lead the way by an enormous amount, nearly 6 times more than the next biggest game. The one thing I want to remind you guys is that if you play at a casino long enough, the house usually wins due to the law of large numbers. This law states that if one conducts the same experiment a large number of times, the average of the results should be close to the expected value, and in the casino's case, the expected value is not in your favor.
Because the house always wins. Play long enough, you never change the stakes, the house takes you.
The best time to walk away from gambling sessions is technically when you're up, but that's always hard to identify, and it actually assumes that you're up in the first place. Gambling addiction is a serious problem in the United States, and if you are ever risking more than you can afford to lose, you should think twice about playing. If gambling does become a serious issue, please call the hotline number that I'll leave in the description below.
Overall, casinos and gambling have been around for centuries, and casinos know exactly how to design their games and their layouts to get you to spend and lose as much money as possible. If you ask me, I'd rather invest in myself or assets like real estate or even the market.
As part of this channel, I also have a corresponding business newsletter called Hump Days that is free to sign up for. We release new editions on Wednesdays and Sundays, and I've left a link in the description below so that you can sign up for free and learn more about the world of business every week. If you found this video helpful or interesting in any way, all I ask is for a subscribe, but for now, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.